In this lesson, we're going to learn about reported speech. Reported speech retells one's talk or idea. There are three types: the imperative, declarative statements, and interrogatives or questions. The imperative is a command. Because of a command, it doesn't tell the subject. For example, shut the door. This is an imperative sentence. To report it, we say, he ordered me to shut the door. So we use the base form in direct speech to give instructions. But when we report, we need to use to followed by the base form. So go, to go. Sleep, to sleep. Open, to open. Let's practice with these sentences. On the left hand side, you will have all the sentences in direct speech, and on the opposite you will have the indirect speech. Sentence number 1. She said, go away. In indirect speech we say, she ordered her to go away. Next sentence. Come here, she said. In reported speech we say, she asked him to come there. Be quiet, she yelled at the children. She ordered the children to be quiet. Please help me, she told him. She asked him to help her. In the negative imperative, we use don't followed by the base form in direct speech. But in indirect speech, we need to use not to followed by the base form. Here are a few examples. She said, don't go away. In reported speech we say, she told me not to go away. Second sentence, don't come here, she said. Let's report this. She asked him not to come there. Sentence number 3. I said, don't be noisy. She begged us not to be noisy. And in the last sentence, she said, don't worry about it. We report this sentence as follows. She told him not to worry about it. In declarative statements, we need to change the pronoun and also the possessive adjective. For example, I becomes he or she, depending on the gender of the speaker, whether he is a man or a woman, whether he is a girl or a boy. You might turn into me, he, she, them, I, him or her, depending on the speaker. My becomes his or her. Our might become their or our. Your might become my, his or her. Not only pronouns and possessive adjectives that change in reported speech, also adverbs of time and place. For example, now becomes then. Today becomes that day. Tomorrow, you can say the next day, the day after, the following day, or a day later. Next, you say the, and then the word, and then after. For example, next week, the week after, or the following week. Next month, the month after, or the following month. Last week becomes the week before, or the previous week, or the preceding week. 2 days ago, 2 days before, or 2 days earlier. Yesterday becomes the day before, or the previous day, or the preceding day. The day before yesterday becomes 2 days before. Adverb of place here becomes there, and the demonstrative pronoun this becomes that. and these becomes those. In addition to adverbs of time and place, we change tenses. And here are the major tense changes that might occur. For the present simple, it becomes past simple. A verb like walk becomes walked. The present continuous, which is or are followed by a verb plus ing, becomes past continuous, which is was or were, depending on the subject, whether it is singular or plural, followed by a verb and then an ing. The present perfect, the simple past, and the past perfect change into past perfect. And the past perfect is had, followed by the past participle of the verb. The future simple becomes past future, which means will turns into would. Modals also change. Can becomes could, may becomes might, must changes into had to, shall becomes should, and will becomes would. Now if you have in the direct sentence ought to followed by a verb, then in the reported speech use ought to followed by have plus past participle. Same thing for could, might, should, and would. If they are followed by a verb, then you need to use that model followed by have followed by the past participle of the verb. Here are a few examples. Ali, I will go now. If I want to report this sentence, it becomes Ali said that he would go then. Here is another sentence. Rani, they love me. Rani told me they loved him. I've been writing. Dina answered. Dina answered that she had been writing. In the direct speech here, I have the present perfect progressive. When I reported the sentence, I used the past perfect progressive. Mother said, I was sick yesterday. Here I have the verb in the simple present tense, and I have a time expression yesterday. Both of these will change. The mother said that she had been sick the day before. Notice that I changed the pronoun from I into she, because the mother said that she, and then we have the verb to be here, which is in the simple past. I changed this verb into the past perfect, and the past perfect of the verb be is had been, and then I changed this time expression yesterday into the day before. Now, how do we change or report yes-no questions? First of all, what is a yes-no question? It's clear from the example here. Are you sure? Yes or no. A yes-no question is a question to which the answer is yes or no. Are you a student? Yes or no. Are you from Kuwait? Yes. The answer could be no. So the question itself is called a yes-no question. Questions that are preceded by auxiliaries. For example, when the question is preceded by an auxiliary that needs a yes-no answer, it will be used, or in the reported speech, we use the conjunction if or whether. Here is an example of a yes-no question. The doctor said, do you usually take a nap? The answer to this question could be yes or it could be no. Because it is a yes-no question, then when I report it, I will use the conjunction if or whether. And the answer would read, doctor asks if or whether I usually take a nap. Here is another example. Mary, are you a student? Well, Mary asked if or whether I was a student. Are you a student is a yes-no question. That's why I use the subject and then the reporting verb, which is asked. After that, I use if or whether. You don't need to use both of them. It's one or the other. You use if or you use whether. And then, because the verb in the direct speech is in the present, then in the reported speech you use the simple past. One more example. John, may I borrow your car? John asked if he might borrow my car. Or I can say, John asked whether he might borrow my car. Now, what if the question is not a yes-no question, but a WH question? It is a question that starts with a question word. In the question, using question words such as what, when, where, which, why, who or whom, the question is firstly changed into a statement. Here is how. Andy, how do you spell your name? If I want to change it into indirect or reported speech, I say, Andy asked, and then I use the same WH question word, which is how in this particular example, followed by the subject and then the verb. There is no such thing as inversion. We don't invert the subject and the verb. We use the same order as if I am writing a sentence. So, Andy asked how I spelt my name. Because the verb here in the direct speech is in the simple present, then in the indirect speech it changes into simple past. And the simple past of the verb spell is spelt. Another example. Where can you keep your money safely? In indirect speech, Sofia asked me where I could keep my money safely.